We always have a producer's plan of some sort. We have a general idea of what we're going to be doing, either for the series or for a particular day's show. But we certainly don't script in the traditional sense of what the characters are going to say to each other, and all of that is reality. It varies with different reality shows. There's some reality shows are more real than others, or more planned out than others. But I'd say in general, there's no way you could call it scripted.
There is no one special moment that defines a conference for me. The whole thing is fantastic. It all blends and bleeds together, one NATPE to the next. I've been going to this thing for about 15 years now. There's always a good story. There's always a personal anecdote. There's always a funny dinner. There's always an interesting wrinkle or rumor that's going on. Last year's Tartikoff Awards were fantastic. This year's, I think, are going to be even better. There's always something happening at NATPE. If you miss it, you're kind of missing out on a big part of our business.
The race to the finish line is who's got the best content, who's got the strongest brand, and the rest of this is the technology catching up and all of us staying in front. And again, when we're all moving forward swiftly on that end, everybody benefits, starting with the consumer, but from a business standpoint, that's when we all find ourselves in a much stronger position to monetize what will be a more successfully used digital media.
I was approached by IKEA to come up with little, funny interstitials, and we talked about a number of different ideas, maybe doing little musicals, maybe doing little vignettes of people walking around the store. And the more I started to talk about it, and the more I started to think of the supermarket show, I thought, well, maybe I could do a show that's about the co-workers working, at IKEA, and basically just, so the only real similarity is that it's the same actors, but it's the location's like a completely different location, and obviously the storyline is very much different because this is, much more a fish out of water story. Me going to work at IKEA and getting into this Swedish mythology, and I have a character who's kind of my alter ego, and I really want to be blonde.
I had the good fortune of knowing Brandon. I actually started at NBC in 1984. Brandon was president of NBC Entertainment, and many years later I had a chance to meet with Brandon, actually work for him for a short time. For anybody that wanted to be in television back in the 80s, Brandon was God. Brandon was somebody you aspired to meet, aspired to work for, aspired to learn from. And while I would have loved the opportunity, I actually never dreamed that I'd get the opportunity, which I did. So 25 years later, to actually get an award with his name on it, it's not, I can't even tell you it's a dream come true, because I honestly didn't dream that big.
I do believe, that there's an inherent belief in this new landscape of 9 million options, that if you don't find something initially, you're never going to find it, so, too bad for someone that doesn't at least premiere well. The things that are positive are the small disparity between a success and a failure. Those numbers are so minute now, that you can pull a number that gives people cause to hope. And I feel that it has actually restored some power to the critics, believe it or not, in that a show with a low number, if it is being championed, is going to have a little more time. That where in the past I felt like critics didn't matter as much. The show was either a hit, or a failure, and there wasn't as much of a nebulous middle ground because the disparity was so big.
We are working with several different kinds of clients who are sourcing these programs from different kinds of budgets, and in the end I think what it comes down to is a basket of custom metrics that really will cover reach and engagement and impact and advocacy, and those are the four buckets that we're most focused on.
The medicine is, I describe as the spine on which we hang everything else. You need the spine or else it'll collapse, but it's everything else that I find interesting, and it's not who's dating who in particular. Sometimes that's fun. It's their outlook on life. It's their outlook on right and wrong. It's them grappling with their own issues and seeking happiness and just seeking a good life.
Yes, and the privilege of series TV, now I interrupted you. The privilege of series TV is that the audience gets to live with the family of characters. So it becomes particularly interesting as you stay with them and watch, different relationships and different, house at the end of season 5 finally unraveling, and it becomes much more interesting to live with these characters, and I think we both get turned on by that.